Hi, everybody. I have a very, very exciting guest for you today. He's actually a digital nomad. He lives a laptop lifestyle, and that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about. If that's something that interests you, and his name is Mike Holt. So, welcome, Mike. Great to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me on the show. It's an honor.
Yeah. So, a lot of entrepreneurs have this dream of actually the laptop lifestyle, sitting on the beach, looking at their stats, just opening their laptop and seeing all the money come in. And very few people actually really genuinely manage to achieve that. Now, I do know a few, I have to say, but I think what's going to be really interesting today is just to talk about your journey and how you came to be the digital nomad and what lifestyle benefits that's brought you. So, if that's
Mhm.
okay, Mike, we'll just focus on that.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So, Mike, first of all, and before we get into it, let's hear about your background. How did you live in Thailand now, right? So where did it all start for you?
Good question. So, actually, it started in late 2019. I was living in Austin, Texas, where I've been for many years now, say about 6 years now. And I just decided to, I've always wanted to visit Bali, Indonesia. I know it's a very popular hotspot for digital nomads. So it was kind of in the back of my mind. And I just decided, in the snap of a finger, to buy a one-way ticket and kind of yeah, just packed up all my belongings and took off for Bali. And I would say that the rest is history. So now I've been living in Thailand for over a year and a half during this world pandemic, which is a little bit challenging. And we can talk more about that as well. But yeah, I have a laptop, I have my camera equipment, a drone, and I also record YouTube videos. So
Amazing.
I'm living the laptop lifestyle.
Yeah, fantastic. Congratulations. So what were you doing before you bought that one-way ticket?
Yeah. Good. So also, at the time I was living in Austin, and I was actually driving. I was delivering food to people on my bike, if you can believe that. So just to pay the bills, I was delivering food. I think it was called Favor or something like that. Uh, so, but I was getting sick of it, like just going through the motions, and and just to pay rent somewhere. I'm like the cost of living in Bali is way cheaper. You can sit on the beach. It's a beautiful island. So I took off, and I haven't been back home since.
Amazing, amazing. So it must have been quite a big decision for you to do that because you didn't really know what the future held for you, did you, when you
No,
left?
no, and that's one of the exciting things about it is it opens the world of possibilities to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you worry about did you have some savings or did you worry about money or did you just think, you know what, everything's going to be okay. I just know it will.
Yeah, that's what it amounted to. So I think I took off with about $1,500 in my bank account, and I just said, okay, I'm gonna wing it, and I'm sure that I can find some marketing clients, pick up some clients along the way. I already had uh, a room reserved at this beautiful villa in Bali, where I was in touch with the owner, and I was offering to help her with photography and marketing, and then stay there for free for about a week or two. So that was taken care of. I didn't have to worry about paying rent somewhere, and I just decided, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so you
Risky though.
mentioned photography. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, that was a brave move. So you mentioned photography and marketing, but you also said that in Texas you were delivering food, right? So you must already have acquired some skills along the way. So was this something that you had been doing on a sort of an amateur basis, or had you actually been earning money working as a marketer and as a photographer before that?
Also a good question. So I was getting into the real estate markets in Austin. So I was working with agents and helping them with aerial photography and video of luxury houses in Austin. And for one reason or another, I've found that real estate agents are kind of notoriously cheap. They're not really willing to invest in professional photography for some reason. So the clients, they were kind of running dry, and I wasn't really happy where I was at that moment. I was kind of just scraping by financially, and
Yeah.
I just, I was looking for something else, something different. And I have been a digital nomad for about 5 years now. I've traveled. I backpacked through South America for about a year and a half, and I didn't have any clients. I was working for Airbnb.
Yeah.
So, but instead of renting out my place, I was getting new hosts to join the platform and then getting paid a commission
Yes.
every couple weeks. So that
Yeah.
I was able to sustain myself the entire time backpacking through South America on that. So that just made me realize that anything's possible if you set your mind to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything's possible if you set your mind to it, and I think that's really, really important
Hmm.
statement because a lot of people, they stay stuck for years, don't they,
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
job that they hate and just surviving above the breadline, just surviving to pay the bills, and
Yeah.
it's not okay, is it, Mike?
Mm-mm. It's
That is not how we
there's
want
a
to
better
live,
life waiting
how
for
we
you. Yeah.
there you go. There's a better life waiting for you, and that's the thing that we're going to talk about. Okay, fantastic. So you'd already had that taste of actually freedom and being able to cover your bills and give yourself enough money to travel around and experience the world. So was that your goal in the first instance, just to cover your bills, or did you go out with the intention of actually creating a genuine lifestyle business that was going to give you more than just the ability to scrape by on
Yeah.
just, in the cheapest accommodation and with the cheapest food?
Hmm. Hmm. So yeah, my goal wasn't just to survive; it was to thrive when I initially
Aha.
set out. And uh, I gotta admit, it is very difficult at times because sometimes you have inconsistent paying clients. Where I'm actually in that situation right now, where I'm waiting on a payment from a client and it's just taking forever. Um, so you that's the thing that I would encourage everyone to get figured out before you leave is at least have 2 or 3 paying clients that you can rely on every month to
Aha.
pay you on time. That way, you don't have to worry so much about, oh, how am I going
Yes.
to eat or where am I going to stay, and so yeah, that's super
Yes.
important.
So
And
yeah,
now,
so some recurring predictable revenue.
yes, yes, and now there's so many companies hiring fully remote employees, and this pandemic has kind of just made that even bigger, propelled it forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so you're a YouTuber, aren't you, Mike? So when did you actually start, or why did you start that YouTube channel, and how's it going now?
It's going all right. I started it about October last year, so almost 1 year. I've had the YouTube channel, and I've almost reached 1,000 subscribers now. So it's growing slowly but surely. And I just put out travel vlogs and sometimes live interviews with remote work experts, other digital nomads doing interesting things. And I'm right now I'm in Chiang Mai, which is in the northern province of Thailand. Beautiful, beautiful place. So
Yeah, it's lovely.
yeah, have you been here?
I have, yes. I remember Chiang Mai well, and I remember going to the elephant sanctuary
Hmm.
and going to see the beautiful orchids. There's yeah, I have very, very, I remember actually going for an elephant ride and going down the river, and it's beautiful,
Hmm.
lovely, loved it.
Surrounded by mountains, you can drive up to a place called Doi Suthep, which is a Buddhist temple up in the mountains. And
Hmm.
yesterday we actually went up to a place called Montjam, which is like a flower farm where
Yeah,
you can actually stay up there surrounded by mountains. So I'm in a very beautiful place, and it's a good opportunity to keep making travel vlogs for YouTube and inspiring people
yes, yes.
to come to Thailand.
Yes, yes. So, so Mike, you also help people actually become digital nomads themselves, don't
That's
you?
right.
And how about the remote working as well? Because there's so much of an appetite. Everybody in the UK, for example, knows that it's very expensive to live over here.
Yeah.
The food's expensive, the rents are expensive. We're on a tiny, tiny island. The house prices are expensive.
Hmm.
Whatever you want to do, you have to earn a lot of money just to be able to basically keep your head above water. So people are waking up to the fact that actually hiring remote workers like VAs and so on in other parts of the world
Uh-huh.
is a smart and savvy business thing to do.
Most definitely.
And it's there's yeah, and of course that this debate kind of rages about, is it exploitation? You know, should you be giving the work to UK workers and all the rest
Uh-huh.
of it? But if you are paying somebody a decent
Yeah.
wage in a country where the cost of living is a lot lower, then it's not exploitation. I mean, I don't know whether you share that view.
Yeah, would tend to agree with you. I don't think you should build your business entirely off the backs of cheap labor in another country. That seems a little exploitive. But as long as you're paying them a decent living salary, um, I don't see any problem with it. Like, there's a lot of
Yeah.
virtual assistants and freelancers in the Philippines, for example, that you can hire and pay them $5 per hour, which is
Hmm.
way above their minimum salary. So I think it's
Hmm.
great. We should do more of that.
Yeah, because, you know, you're supporting a third world economy or developing world, I should
Mhm.
say. So yes, and giving people those opportunities. So so brilliant. So tell us about your journey then, since that day that you landed in Bali. What actually happened after the first week? So you came there with this
Uh-huh.
assignment. You had some free
Yeah,
accommodation, which is
sure.
brilliant. But what happened after that?
Yeah, well, basically, I explored the island for about 2 months, and I was staying different places. They have some co-working spaces there, so I was getting to meet a lot of other interesting folks, other digital nomads living in Bali. I'd usually just go and work for a few hours from a co-working space, maybe ride the motorbike up to a waterfall, and go to some temples, just kind of, yeah, explore the island. And after about 2 months, I started to get a little bit bored because it is a relatively small island, and I did kind of notice that it's just a lot of people like influencers, right? Look at me, which sort of got on my nerves after a while. So I decided to leave, and then I flew to Singapore. I actually
Yeah.
had a few hotels lined up there where I could stay for free, which was great because uh, it's super expensive in Singapore. It's about $300 minimum for a hotel.
Yeah.
So this is something I've been doing for a while too, where I can market myself as a photographer, YouTuber, and
Yeah.
come in and stay in exchange for those services, right? So yeah, I spent about
Amazing.
2 weeks in Singapore, and then I flew from Singapore into Phuket, Thailand, which is the largest island here. And
Mhm.
that was in February 2020, so right before the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And I just decided to stick around. I'm still here.
Yeah. Yeah, because Thailand is just such a lovely place. I've also been to, Phuket as
Mm,
well, and it's beautiful. I
absolutely
know
beautiful.
that. Yeah, so you go and approach these hotels and you say to them, "I am going to put you on YouTube. I'm going to publicize and promote your hotel, take some beautiful pictures." And they say, "Okay, fine. You know, you stay in a
Yep.
room." And is that a viable thing to do over the long term? Could you travel around the world, do you think, doing something
I
like
would
that?
say most definitely. So I've already been doing that to a certain extent in Bali, Singapore, and now Thailand as well. I was doing it also in when I was living in Koh Samui. Lived there for about
Yes.
five months, and I was able
Yes.
to stay at some beautiful places, luxury. villas, other like hotels up on the mountain in Samui, just doing this. And the thing
Amazing.
about like right now during this pandemic, they're all struggling for customers as it is.
Right.
So it's kind of a
Yes.
win-win situation for them. Doesn't really cost them anything, and I'm helping them market themselves.
Absolutely. So how long might you stay then, typically if
Yeah.
you approach a hotel?
So typically I'll stay for about 3 nights, all expenses paid. And
Yeah.
sometimes if I can sort of, if you want to say, upsell them on other services, then I can extend that even longer. If especially if I
Yes.
develop a relationship with the hotel owner or manager.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's
Which is really fantastic, isn't
yeah,
it?
it cuts down
Travel
on
the world for
costs.
free.
Yeah, it cuts down on costs, and I do sometimes get some negative feedback about it, but I don't care.
Well, yes, I mean, we can't live our lives for everybody else's
Hmm.
opinion, can
Exactly.
we? Particularly not if you're out in the public eye and you're doing things like YouTube and so on. There are always gonna be people that don't like what we
Yeah,
do,
you just
right?
gotta
So
roll
you
with the
just
punches.
yeah, yeah. So, so so is Chiang Mai your permanent base now
For
then?
the time being, I'm living here
Yeah,
with my girlfriend. She's Thai, and we've been together for
yeah.
about 10 months now, and it's one of the reasons that I stay here. And yeah, so Chiang Mai for now is my home base. I've been here just over a month, but I would love to go to
Yes.
Phuket or Koh Samui again soon, especially for this because I'm launching a property tech startup here in Thailand.
Yes, yes. So we're gonna talk about that because obviously you've got the lifestyle, you've found a way of funding your lifestyle, which is really, really
Hmm.
great. And it's also given you the freedom, hasn't it, to be able to obviously develop your digital
Yeah.
skills and, all of your online skills and just get better and better at that and build a following and so on. And out of that has come this online business opportunity. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, Mike, your tech startup.
All right, I'd be happy to tell you more about it. So it's called Thailand 360 Tours. It's a property tech startup where essentially what I'm doing is offering virtual tours, which
Mhm.
allows somebody online to look around an entire property before making a booking. So this is a market that is underserved here in Thailand. I've done a lot of research, and so I'm specifically targeting the hospitality industry, travel, and tourism, which, given the current situation, has taken a huge hit, and over
Yes.
80% of the hotels and resorts in Thailand are closed at the moment. So
Oh,
I might I might want to wait another couple months to see what happens with the border fully reopening to tourists coming in.
yes.
But I think
Yes.
I'm well positioned. I have a brilliant idea that can benefit the Thai economy, and so I've already been approved for my smart visa, which is through
Yes.
the Thailand Board of Investment, and now I'm kind of just waiting for tourists to
Yes.
start coming back, and then people will have more of a budget for this what I'm offering.
Yeah, which they will. I mean, it's just a question of
Hmm.
time. And the thing that I really like about this is that what you're doing, yes, you're in Thailand at the moment, but you could do it anywhere in the
That's right.
world, couldn't you?
I just choose to start it here in Thailand because lots of
Yeah.
businesses are
Yeah.
struggling, and I think I can
Yeah.
help them.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and it must have been very, very tough, I would imagine. I mean, it's been tough everywhere, but I would imagine that, and I certainly know I have partners who have come from other countries, that it's been a lot harder in the more
Yes,
developing countries
yeah,
because there's obviously less resources for healthcare and
and the
so on.
vaccine rollout is
So,
taking very long. We don't have a very good vaccine here, and the government
yeah,
they're always changing their mind. There's lockdowns all the time. Not a pleasant
yeah. Oh,
time.
Yeah, yeah, that's tough. Um, okay, so Mike, you obviously you must be in a tribe of digital nomads. There are going to be lots of people that you mentioned. You were in. You used to visit co-working spaces and
Hmm.
so on.
That's
So,
right.
what other businesses are people doing remotely that are giving them those lifestyle benefits that we've been talking
Well,
about?
digital marketing is number one. So if you
Yeah.
are already on LinkedIn, there's so many B2B, B2C clients out there just waiting for your what you're offering. But I would say digital marketing, photography as well, but it's a little bit more challenging if you don't already have clients lined up. Um,
Yes.
there's copywriting. Copywriting is you can do very well, and SEO as well. So I would say like the marketing
Yes.
field in general is prime for digital nomad.
Yeah. Yeah. So of course, because those skills, they are skill
Hmm.
sets, aren't they? So they are not tied to any physical location. In fact, of course, the internet is a global
Yeah.
phenomena, so that stands to
All
reason.
you need is a
Yeah.
laptop and a
Do you
fast Wi-Fi connection, and some clients lined up, and you're good to go.
That's it. Exactly, exactly. Um, so so how do you feel now when you look back at your life in Texas? Do you still have family back there, and do they miss you? Has it been a bit of a wrench you coming here?
Yeah, I still have family. My mom's in Dallas, Texas, and my dad's up in Michigan in the north. And
Yes.
yeah, I have
Yes.
no doubt that they miss me, and I still talk to them on a fairly regular basis. And I'm sure they like me to come back, but I feel like my home is here now. I'm sort of an expat that has now left the U.S. and I yeah, I'd rather be in Thailand. So if they want to come over here and visit me, then that would be great. Once things get better.
Yeah, but again
Hmm.
again, I mean, when I think about my sister moved to the US when I was very young, and at that particular time, we could only communicate via airmail
Oh,
letters, and there used to be these kind of like paper things that we folded over, and it was terribly exciting when you got an email letter. But even making the telephone calls were too expensive,
okay.
so you had to maybe have a telephone call perhaps once a month or something like that. But you know, when you think about now about Zoom and about the fact that we are talking, I'm here in Rickmansworth, in just outside London. You're there in Chiang Mai in Thailand, and we're having a great conversation. Really, the world has opened up,
Absolutely.
hasn't
And
it?
now everybody's on Zoom. They're using it for conference calls, remotes, interviews, just like we're doing right here. So it's incredible that technology has come so
Yeah,
far.
it is. It is. So let's talk a bit more about YouTube, Mike. So I mean, since you started your YouTube channel, you're also an SEO expert, right? So love to hear any particular tips that you've got for people who want to perhaps monetize a YouTube channel, get a YouTube channel up and running, and actually enable it to help them build a digital nomad
Yeah, so I
business.
appreciate you calling me an SEO expert, but I'm not. Uh, there's, there's there's one
Okay.
guy here in Chiang Mai. His name's Matt Diggity, and he is an SEO expert, legitimately. But
Okay.
SEO is kind of it's a little bit boring in my opinion. I don't really find it too exciting. I But yeah, I mean, for YouTube, you do need to make sure that your videos are well optimized and you're using the right keywords and tags. So that's an
Yes.
important part, and also the you need to make sure to get the thumbnail right. If somebody looks at a
Yes.
thumbnail and it's just like a blurry picture of you, and it's like, why are they going to click on it, right? So
Yes,
that's something I've
exactly.
started, getting better at as well. And I do all of this stuff myself. I don't hire anyone. It's just like a one man
Yeah.
team for now. It's a lot of
Yeah,
work.
yeah. So it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but I think the people that I know that do this regularly, they get quicker and
Hmm.
quicker, of course, with time. So, yeah, well, of course, it's just a laptop and so on, but do you do any of this on your phone as well? Do you use your phone a lot, or is it
In the
mostly
beginning,
laptop?
I was shooting videos with my phone, and I have a gimbal, so I
Yeah,
would use my phone to shoot the YouTube
yeah,
videos. But now I have an actual,
yeah.
it's called an Insta 360. So it's just a
Uh-huh.
camera with a stick, and I can hold that while I'm recording. So now I use my laptop for editing all the videos. Yeah, much easier.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, fantastic. Um, so So, Mike, what's next on the horizon for you? I mean, obviously, you've got this very exciting startup. Are you planning on continuing with your, with your hotel photography and marketing work and running your startup alongside? And is there anything else that you're looking to do? Because a lot of people go to
Oh,
places like Thailand, they open up a bar or a restaurant. Are you thinking of doing
no,
anything like that? Maybe not right
that's
now.
not really my scene. I leave that to the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
sex pets, as they're called here in Thailand.
Oh,
Yeah,
the sexpats.
they go to
Okay.
places like Pattaya,
Right.
and of course, right now, like the popular areas like Walking Street are completely dead. All the bars are closed, so
Yeah.
I don't see that as a sustainable business model at all. I'd much rather do something kind of
Yeah.
tech related, and so
Yeah.
now I already have connections in a lot of these hotels, and I have a large email list as well. So when the time
Yes.
comes, I can easily just blast out an email to all of them to go from
Yes.
there.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, fantastic. Um, so how do you think you've changed as an individual as a
Mhm.
result of this lifestyle change and
Yeah, I
career
would say
change?
if you're just working 9 to 5 every day and you're kind of stuck in the rat race, there's not a lot of opportunity for growth as an individual,
Mhm.
and that's business or personal or relationships, whatever. Uh, so I found that overcoming all of the challenges, and I'm still going through them, even right now, that has taught me a lot and has helped me grow as an individual and just learn so many new skills.
Yeah, and you need time, don't you? And I think one of the things about being in the rat race, if you like, sort of working
Hmm.
full time and having to commute, of course, that's something that a lot of people have managed to shake off, thankfully, since lockdown, and since a lot of businesses have also woken up to the idea that they don't actually have to pay
Hmm.
premises and things like that. But it's very, very time consuming, isn't it? And I think you can't get back time, can you? You can always make more
That's
money, but you
exactly
can't
right. I
make more
say that to
time,
myself
right?
all the time, and it's so true.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. A lot of people say time.
So
A lot
every
of people
single
say
day.
time is money,
Yeah.
but it's not. They're sort of interlinked, but it's time is your most valuable resource.
Yeah, well, time is money. Well, I suppose people say that because if people are taking up your time, then it's really costing you money because, yeah, I guess it's something that you
Hmm.
have to be careful you don't give too much of to other people, without getting value in return, and I guess that's why they say
Yeah,
that
yeah,
really, isn't it?
yeah.
But yeah, but at the same time, time is it isn't
Yeah,
money,
exactly.
time is time, right? And,
Exactly.
there's only so
Mhm.
many hours in the day. Yep. And we have to appreciate the time that we have on this earth because it
Yeah,
will run out sooner
exactly.
rather than later, and we have to make the most of it.
And there's things now you can
Yeah.
do to automate some of the tedious tasks that you don't want to do. Like on LinkedIn, for example, they have marketing automation that will automatically
Yes.
send messages to people. So that just frees up your time to do other things, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that marketing automation on LinkedIn, that's a little bit of a
It is,
controversial
and I
one.
use it a lot, and
Um,
I haven't really had too many issues,
yes.
but it is. They are starting to crack down on it.
Well, I mean, Yeah, and to be honest, I'm also crazy about automation because I think automation, it's obviously been used by big businesses for, a long, long time now. We're all familiar with going into, you know, well, I mean, both remote working and automation. So we're all familiar with the
Yeah.
call centers
Yep.
in India and so on. But we're also familiar with now going into these automated well, I suppose you call them, telephone reception. But I don't know what you call them, but anyway, where you're given all these different choices and you're
Oh
not
yeah, I
speaking
can't
to a
stand
human
that,
and so
especially
on.
when a telemarketer calls you up on the phone and it's just automated.
Oh yeah. So automation, it can be used well and it can be used in a way that literally irritates the
Mm-hmm.
hell out of you. Um, But when it's used well, people don't notice it. All they notice is the benefits
That's
of
true.
it. So if we go to Amazon, yeah, and we order. Recently, I've been using Amazon Fresh a bit, and so you go there and you order some food, and it comes a few hours later, all in nice paper bags. So this is what happens over here. And we like that kind of thing because we like convenience and choice. And that's automation. And we can also bring that into
Mm-hmm.
our
Mm-hmm.
businesses, can't we? And to free up our time for the things that we do best and the things that we really want to do with our lives, which, of course, in your case, is just enjoying this beautiful place that you've
That's right.
ended up
And
in.
don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of hardships over here and people are uh, having problems. But I take a look at what's going on here, and then I look at in the U.S. with the serious homelessness pandemic, and you don't really
Yes.
see homeless people here in Thailand for whatever reason. They go back to live with their family, or I'm not sure, but it's very strange that in the U.S. we can't actually take care of the people at the bottom. Just kind of let them fall by the wayside.
Yeah,
It
it's
is,
very
and
uncaring, actually, and completely
I don't
unnecessary.
want to be a part of a society that doesn't take care of their people. The
Yeah, no, I completely understand.
mm,
Yeah, completely get that. And yeah, I was actually listening to a very interesting YouTube video today by a guy called
ah,
Johan Harry, and yeah, and he's written a couple of really fantastic books, and one of them is on depression, and one of
mm,
them is on addiction. And he traveled around the world, so he was also
uh-huh,
a bit of
uh-huh,
a digital nomad, and he wanted to study the causes of addiction and how of depression and addiction, and how different societies actually tackled these particular issues. So
mm,
he went to Cambodia, and I was listening to this morning. It was actually on YouTube, and he met this guy, and he said, "Oh, these pills have been introduced. They're antidepressants." And oh no, we don't need those in this country. And it's like, what do you mean? So, oh no, we have our medicine. And it's like, what? And so this doctor, he said, well, this is what happens in our country, and he told him the story of a farmer who worked in the paddy fields who had been sadly he'd lost his
oof,
leg to a landmine, and what had happened is he went back into the paddy fields, and apparently it's very painful if you've had
uh-huh,
an artificial limb to be underwater. So this was making him very upset because he was experiencing a lot of pain on top of this artificial limb and the
mhm,
terrible thing that had happened to him. And in the end, he just went to bed and started crying and not getting up and not wanting to go to work. And of course, that's the classic
yeah,
symptom of depression. So what happened? He said, "Oh, this is what we did." And he said, we we sent people to talk to him, and they talk to him, and they listen to him every day, and that is our medicine. And eventually, those people kind of rallied round, and they said, "Oh well, we'll buy him."
mhm,
A cow, and then he can go and be a dairy farmer, and he won't have the pain in his leg anymore, and he won't have to go underwater. And the whole message was, look, depression is
uh-huh,
often a situational thing. People say, oh, it's brain chemistry. And in a way, that's something that is big pharma. has promoted that. And in fact, the effects of something like the antidepressants, they're very short term. They don't really last. And in fact, what is really going on is that we do not
Mm,
have enough connection in the world. We don't have enough connection. People are short of time. They don't give us their
mhm.
focus and their attention when we are unhappy or troubled, which is usually because of life incidents. And then what
Yeah,
happens is we
it
get
makes
sad,
perfect
and
sense. Yeah.
that's understandable. Yeah.
That's interesting. Thanks for sharing that story.
So I thought, yeah. Yes, it really is. So I think, of course, every country in the world has issues, and of course, we can't really compare the levels of poverty in developing countries and regions, like Asia with the developed world. But what is interesting is that you mentioned that there is not an
Uh-huh.
issue with homelessness, or maybe a very small issue with homelessness. Why is it that a country
Yeah.
that struggles for resources does not have an issue with homelessness, whereas a country like
Yeah, yeah.
America, which is basically the richest country in the world, has all these people on
Yeah,
Skid
it
Row?
does not make
Makes you
sense.
think, doesn't it?
I mean, just driving around Chiang Mai, occasionally you'll see a homeless person, but it's very infrequently. So there's some sort of disconnect
Yeah.
there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So Mike, what would you say if you were to, if somebody was to say, okay, Mike, I want to live this digital nomad lifestyle. I want to find a way to actually travel the world, get all my costs covered, be free of that location dependent lifestyle. What would be your first
Buy a
piece of
plane ticket.
advice to them, knowing what
Buy a
knowing
plane
what you
ticket.
know now?
Just pick a place on the map. Where's somewhere
Let's
you've
do
always
it.
wanted to go? That's like an exotic destination. Let's say Bali, for example, and just buy the ticket and go there. Of course, now it's a little bit more challenging with all the
Yeah.
hoops you have to jump through. But yeah, it's still possible if you set your mind to
Yeah, and there's some amazing, amazing stuff on YouTube
it.
with people that have just done that. So there's one guy that I also follow, and he calls himself
Oh yes,
Bald and
I follow
Bankrupt.
him as well.
He's
Yeah,
actually,
I've seen some of his
have you
videos.
seen him? Yeah, you follow him as well. And he goes to all these tourist destinations that people would never normally go to, because they're just well, they're either too dangerous, or they're just too remote, aren't they? So he goes to places like Mauritania and lots of kind of very strange and
Oof,
inhospitable parts of
that's not for
Russia.
the faint of heart.
And
I would find that a little
yeah,
bit scary. But
yeah. And the last one I
yeah,
saw, he was
no.
in Peru, and he got to this town, and he just put a pin in the map and said, "I'm going to
Uh-huh.
find a way to go there." And he went to this place that was all full of very, very tiny Peruvian people in their traditional costumes, just, working on the land. And they were very hospitable. They invited him into their little
Wow.
house, and they gave him a meal. And I thought that was, oh yeah, yeah. And I think the interesting thing about that is that he has proven that wherever you go, however strange you might seem, and of course these people have probably never seen a guy that was twice the size of them,
Hmm.
and white skinned. They probably never ever seen anybody like him. But that's what that's what a lot of these very poor people, very rural people do all over the world.
Yep.
They see a stranger, they invite them into their
Mm.
home, and they feed them. And isn't
People
that
are
lovely?
friendly
And
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 hospitable.
that's something that
Yeah,
we
people
have
are
forgotten
friendly and
largely.
hospitable wherever you go. It doesn't matter where you are. And I've
Yeah,
actually spent a couple months
yeah,
traveling through
yeah.
Peru. I've been many, many places in the beautiful country. I've been to Machu Picchu 4 different times, and I even hiked there one time. It's like a five
Wow.
day intense hike to Machu Picchu. So there's so many things that you
Yeah,
can do if you just
amazing.
start exploring the world, that you would never even dream of. Like incredible.
Yeah. So I guess the message, if you were, if we have to finish this interview with a message to all the wannabe laptop lifestyle and digital nomad wannabes out there, what would your message
Oh,
to
that's a
them
good
be?
question. So everything is moving online nowadays, and if as long as you have a laptop and a fast Wi-Fi connection, then the entire world is online. So you just
Yeah.
need to. I would recommend getting a fast laptop, something maybe a MacBook. Make sure you're well equipped before you take off. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, have a few clients lined up before you just jet set off. But yeah, it's definitely possible, and there's already a lot of people out there doing it. And I think this pandemic has expedited the digital nomad movement. It's just going to keep gaining momentum.
Amazing. Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mike. It's been very, very inspiring
Thank you
as
so much.
ever, and great to meet you. Yeah, and best of luck with your amazing venture,
Hmm.
the Thailand 360 tours. So we'll look out for that, and will you be featuring that on your YouTube
Yes, I
channel
will,
as well?
and I have a website too.
Okay, okay. Okay. So if people want to get in touch with you and see some of your work, what's the
I would
best
recommend
way
going to
for them to do
YouTube,
that?
and you can just type in "Digital Nomad Ventures," and I'll pop right up and watch some of my travel vlogs on the YouTube channel. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn. It's just Mike Holp. And I also have a Facebook group, also called Digital Nomad Ventures, with about 6,000 members and growing. These are people that are digital nomads and remote workers from all over the world. So those are the best places to reach me.
Fabulous. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mike. It's
Thanks
been
so
an
much.
absolute
It's been an
pleasure to
honor.
have you.